On a radiant summer afternoon, as warm golden sunlight filtered through the lush green leaves, Mia stood before the mirror, admiring her reflection in a shimmering sapphire dress. It was the day of her sister-in-law Lily's wedding, and Mia felt as giddy as a bride herself, but beneath the flawless makeup and bright smile, a storm of emotions brewed quietly within her. Mia had always longed to be accepted by her in-laws, yet the cold glances and biting remarks from her mother-in-law Grace felt like sharp daggers, making her feel like an outsider. Today, as everyone gathered to celebrate Lily and Tom's love, Mia couldn't shake the anxiety of whether she would ever find her place in this family. As the music began to play and guests started to arrive, Mia took a deep breath, reminding herself that this could be a fresh start. Little did she know that within this celebration, hidden secrets and simmering conflicts would erupt, forever altering her relationship with her in-laws. Would Mia be able to navigate these challenges to find the love and acceptance she so desperately craved? Their story begins here, at a party where everything could change in the blink of an eye. Mia stood in front of the mirror, her heart racing with excitement. Today was the day of her sister-in-law Lily's wedding, and the anticipation in the air was almost electric. At 28, Mia had built a successful career as a fashion designer, and she had poured her heart into creating the perfect outfit for this special occasion. The deep sapphire blue dress she had chosen shimmered under the soft light, hugging her curves in all the right places. As she applied the finishing touches to her makeup, she couldn't help but admire how the dress made her feel, elegant, confident, and ready to celebrate. The afternoon had been a whirlwind of pampering. Mia had started with a long, relaxing bubble bath infused with lavender oils, letting the soothing scent calm her nerves. As she soaked, her mind drifted back to the first time she met Lily. It felt like just yesterday when Alex, her husband, had introduced her to his family. They had bonded instantly over their shared love for fashion and art, and Mia had felt welcomed into the family from the very beginning. After her bath, Mia had taken her time with her hair, opting for loose, cascading waves that framed her face beautifully. The hairstyle had taken longer than expected, but as she looked at the final result, she knew it had been worth every minute. It complemented her dress perfectly, adding to the overall ethereal feel she was going for. Slipping on her strappy silver sandals, she felt a rush of excitement. "Hey, honey, we need to leave in 10 minutes. Alex called from downstairs, snapping Mia back to reality. She took one last look in the mirror, adjusted her clutch, a delicate silver piece that barely fit her phone and lipstick, and made her way downstairs. As she reached the bottom of the stairs, she saw Alex waiting for her, looking dashing in his tailored navy suit. His eyes widened as he took in her appearance, a smile spreading across his face. "Wow," he breathed. "You look absolutely stunning." Mia felt her cheeks flush at his compliment, a flutter of warmth spreading through her. Even after years of marriage, Alex still had that effect on her. They made their way to the car, the warm summer evening enveloping them in its embrace. The drive to the venue was filled with excited chatter about the upcoming festivities. Alex shared stories about the bachelor party he had thrown for Lily's fiancé Tom, a camping trip that had apparently involved more mishaps than actual camping. Mia laughed at his tales, feeling the last of her nerves melt away as they pulled up to the venue. As they arrived, Mia gasped at the sight before her. The old Victorian mansion had been transformed into a fairy tale setting, twinkling fairy lights adorning the trees lining the driveway, creating a magical canopy overhead. The scent of roses and jasmine filled the air, emanating from the lush flower arrangements that seemed to be everywhere. Mia felt a surge of joy as they made their way inside, greeted by the soft melodies of a string quartet. The foyer was bustling with guests, all dressed in their finest attire. Familiar faces filled the crowd, uncles, aunts, cousins, and friends they hadn't seen in ages. It felt like a grand reunion, with laughter and excited conversations filling the air. As Mia and Alex mingled, She couldn't shake the feeling of excitement and nervousness. Little did she know the evening would unfold in ways she never could have imagined. As Mia and Alex navigated through the crowd, Mia felt a warm glow of belonging wash over her. Alex's hand found the small of her back, guiding her through the throngs of guests. "This is my wife, Mia," he introduced proudly to each new face they encountered. Each time, Mia smiled and exchanged pleasantries, feeling a sense of pride swell within her. However, amidst the laughter and joy, Mia couldn't help but notice the admiring glances thrown her way. The sapphire dress was definitely turning heads, and while a part of her felt self-conscious, another part reveled in the attention. It wasn't often that she got to dress up like this, and she was determined to enjoy every moment of it. Eventually, they made their way to the garden, where the ceremony was set to take place. Rows of white chairs had been arranged, facing an archway adorned with delicate white and pink roses. The late afternoon sun cast a golden glow over everything, making the scene look like something out of a painting. As they took their seats, Mia felt a tap on her shoulder. Turning around, she saw Lily's bridesmaid, Jenna, an old friend from college. "Mia," Jenna exclaimed, pulling her into a tight hug. "It's been ages. You look incredible." They chatted for a few minutes, catching up on each other's lives. Jenna had recently moved to the city to pursue her dream of becoming a photographer, and as she regaled Mia with stories of her adventures, Mia felt a pang of nostalgia for their carefree college days. Their conversation was interrupted by the soft strains of music signaling the start of the ceremony. A hush fell over the crowd as everyone turned to watch the procession. First came the flower girls, adorable in their pale pink dresses, scattering rose petals along the aisle. Then came the bridesmaids, each looking radiant in deep blue gowns that complemented Mia's sapphire dress beautifully. And then there she was. Lily appeared at the end of the aisle, arm in arm with their father. She looked breathtaking in a flowing white gown, her face glowing with happiness behind her veil. As she passed by, she caught Mia's eye and gave her a small wink. Mia felt her heart swell with affection for her sister-in-law. The ceremony itself was beautiful in its simplicity. Tom and Lily had written their own vows, and there wasn't a dry eye in the house as they declared their love for each other. As they sealed their union with a kiss, the garden erupted in cheers and applause. Mia felt Alex's hand squeeze hers, and when she turned to him, she saw her own joy reflected in his eyes. It was a perfect moment, filled with love and hope for the future. The reception that followed was a whirlwind of activity. The grand ballroom of the mansion had been decorated just as beautifully as the garden, with crystal chandeliers casting a warm glow over the festivities. The air was filled with the delicious aromas of the dinner being served, and the dance floor was already filling up with eager guests. Mia and Alex found their seats at a table near the front, joining a mix of family and friends. The conversation flowed easily, punctuated by laughter and the clinking of champagne glasses. Mia was in the middle of a hilarious story about her first disastrous attempt at cooking for Alex when she felt a chill run down her spine. Glancing up, she caught sight of her mother-in-law, Grace, watching her from across the room. There was something in Grace's expression that made Mia uneasy, a mix of disdain and, was that jealousy? She tried to shake off the feeling, telling herself she was imagining things. This was a night for celebration after all. But as the evening wore on, she couldn't shake the feeling that Grace's eyes were following her. Every time she looked in her direction, Grace seemed to be there, her gaze burning into Mia. It was unsettling, to say the least. Mia tried to focus on enjoying the night, dancing with Alex and catching up with old friends, but Grace's presence lingered in the back of her mind, casting a small shadow over what should have been a perfect evening. As the night drew to a close and guests began to trickle out, Mia felt a sense of relief. The wedding had been beautiful and she was genuinely happy for Lily and Tom, but there was also a nagging feeling in the pit of her stomach, a sense that something wasn't quite right. Little did she know, as Mia and Alex said their goodbyes and headed home, that this night was just the beginning of events that would test their family in ways they never could have imagined. The days following Lily and Tom's wedding passed in a blur of thank you notes and shared photos. Mia found herself reliving the magical evening through the countless snapshots that flooded their family group chat. There she was, twirling on the dance floor, her sapphire dress catching the light just so. Another photo showed Mia and Alex, heads bent close in laughter during the best man's speech. Each image brought back a flood of happy memories. But there was one that gave her pause. A group shot of the entire family, with Grace standing off to the side, her eyes fixed on Mia with an unreadable expression. Mia tried to push the unease aside, chalking it up to leftover nerves from the big day. But as they settled back into their routine, she couldn't shake the feeling that something had shifted. It started small. A missed call here, an unanswered text there. Grace, who had always been quick to organize family dinners and impromptu get-togethers, suddenly became scarce. Maybe she's just giving the newlyweds some space, Alex suggested one evening as they curled up on the couch, half watching a rerun of their favorite sitcom. Mia nodded, wanting to believe him, but the knot in her stomach told a different story. It was a couple of weeks later when things really started to unravel. They were at a family barbecue at Grace and Alex's parents' house, the first time they'd all been together since the wedding. The backyard was alive with chatter and laughter, the smell of grilling burgers filling the air. Mia was helping Lily set up the salad bar when she overheard a snippet of conversation from the patio. "I just don't understand why she had to wear such an attention-grabbing dress." Grace's voice carried over, sharp and clear. "It was Lily's day, for heaven's sake." Mia froze, the bowl of cherry tomatoes in her hand suddenly feeling very heavy. Lily must have sensed her discomfort because she squeezed Mia's arm gently. "Don't listen to her," she whispered. "You looked gorgeous." But the damage was done. For the rest of the afternoon, Mia felt Grace's eyes on her, scrutinizing her every move. She tried to act normally, laughing at Tom's dad jokes and cooing over baby photos with Alex's cousins, but inside she was a mess of confusion and hurt. As the sun began to set and guests started to leave, Mia found herself alone in the kitchen, loading the dishwasher. The clink of plates and the hum of the machine provided a welcome distraction from her swirling thoughts. "Need a hand?" Alex's voice made her jump. She turned to see him leaning against the doorframe, a concerned look on his face. "I'm okay," she said, forcing a smile, "just finishing up here." He crossed the room and wrapped his arms around her from behind, resting his chin on her shoulder. "You've been quiet all afternoon. What's going on?" Mia hesitated, not wanting to cause trouble, but the weight of Grace's words pressed down on her. Before she knew it, everything came spilling out. The overheard conversation, the pointed looks, the growing sense of unease she'd been feeling since the wedding. Alex listened in silence, his arms tightening around her as she spoke. When she finished, he let out a long sigh. "I'm so sorry, Mia. I had no idea Mom was acting this way." "It's not your fault," she said quickly, turning in his arms to face him. I don't know what I've done to upset her." "You haven't done anything," Alex said firmly. "This is her issue, not yours. I'll talk to her, okay?" Mia nodded, feeling a mix of relief and apprehension. Part of her wanted to just let it go, to pretend everything was fine, but another part knew that this tension couldn't continue. Something had to give. The next few days were tense. Alex had a heated phone conversation with Grace, the muffled sounds of their argument drifting from his home office. When he emerged, his face was drawn and tired. "She says she doesn't know what I'm talking about," he said, running a hand through his hair in frustration. "Claims she's been nothing but welcoming to you." Mia felt a flash of anger quickly followed by a wave of sadness. "So what now?" she asked, her voice small. Alex pulled her into a hug. We give her some time to cool off, then we'll all sit down and talk this out like adults." But time didn't seem to help. If anything, the rift grew wider. Family dinners became an exercise in forced politeness, with Grace barely acknowledging Mia's presence. Mia found herself dreading every gathering, her stomach in knots as she tried to navigate the minefield of Grace's unpredictable moods. It all came to a head at Lily and Tom's housewarming party. The newlyweds had just moved into a charming little bungalow on the outskirts of town, and everyone had gathered to help them celebrate. Mia had spent the morning baking a batch of her famous snickerdoodles, determined to put her best foot forward despite the tension. The party was in full swing when she arrived, the small house bursting with friends and family. Lily greeted her at the door with a warm hug, her eyes lighting up at the sight of the cookie tin. "Oh, you shouldn't have," she exclaimed, but the way she immediately popped one in her mouth told Mia she was glad she did. Mia made her way through the crowd, exchanging hellos and compliments on the new house. She was just starting to relax, a glass of white wine in hand, when she spotted Grace across the room. Grace was deep in conversation with one of Lily's co-workers, but her eyes were fixed on Mia. Taking a deep breath, Mia decided to approach her. Maybe if she made the first move, they could start to mend this rift between them. "Grace," Mia said, plastering on her most genuine smile, "it's good to see you. How have you been?" Grace turned to her slowly, her eyes narrowing slightly. "Oh, Mia, I'm fine, thank you, although I must say, I'm surprised to see you here." Mia blinked, caught off guard by her tone. "Why wouldn't I be here? Lily's my sister-in-law." Grace let out a small, humorous laugh. "Of course. How could I forget? You do love to be at the center of every family gathering, don't you?" Mia felt her cheeks burn with embarrassment and confusion. "I'm just here to support Lily and Tom like everyone else." "Oh, please," Grace scoffed. "We all know you can't stand not being the center of attention. First the wedding, now this. Tell me, do you plan everything around upstaging my children?" Her words hit Mia like a physical blow. She stumbled back a step, her wine sloshing dangerously in its glass. "Grace, I don't understand. I've never tried to upstage anyone. I love this family." But Grace was on a roll now, years of pent-up resentment spilling out. "Love this family? You've done nothing but try to change it since the day you arrived, always with your trendy clothes and your fancy job. Did you ever stop to think that maybe you don't fit in here?" Mia felt as if all the air had been sucked out of the room. People were starting to stare, conversations dying down as Grace's voice rose. Desperately, she searched the crowd for Alex, but he was nowhere to be seen. "I'm sorry you feel that way," Mia managed to choke out, "but I've only ever tried to be myself." Grace's eyes flashed dangerously. "No, I suppose you can't, but you can certainly leave. Go on, Mia, no one here wants you anyway." The room fell silent. Mia could feel every eye on her, could almost hear the collective intake of breath. Tears pricked at her eyes, but she refused to let them fall. Not here, not now. Just as she was about to turn and flee, she felt a hand on her shoulder. Lily had appeared beside her, her face a mask of fury. "That's enough, Mom," she said, her voice ice cold. "Mia is family, whether you like it or not, and if you can't accept that, then maybe you're the one who should leave." Grace's mouth opened and closed, shock written across her features. She looked around the room as if seeking support, but found only uncomfortable glances and averted eyes. Without another word, she grabbed her purse and stormed out the front door, slamming it behind her with a finality that seemed to echo through the suddenly quiet house. As soon as she was gone, the floodgates opened. Lily pulled Mia into a fierce hug, whispering apologies and reassurances. Alex appeared, having heard the commotion from the backyard, his face a mix of anger and concern. The party dissolved into a flurry of activity, with people offering comfort and expressing their shock at Grace's behavior. assuring Mia that she was loved and wanted. But through it all, Mia felt numb. The carefully constructed image of their happy family had shattered, and she wasn't sure if it could ever be put back together. As Mia and Alex drove home that night, the car was filled with a heavy silence. Mia couldn't help but wonder where they would go from here. How could they rebuild a family when the very foundation had been shaken? More importantly, did she even want to try? The days following Lily and Tom's housewarming party were a blur of hushed phone calls and tense conversations. Alex spent hours on the phone with Lily, trying to make sense of what had happened. Mia could hear snippets of their conversations. "I had no idea, she's never acted like this before," and "What are we going to do?" each one a reminder of the rift that had torn through their family. Feeling increasingly isolated, Mia withdrew, spending more time at work and less time engaging with the family group chat that used to bring her so much joy. The constant stream of messages felt like salt in an open wound, a reminder of the connection she once had and now feared she had lost. It was a week after the party when Alex finally broached the subject with her. They were sitting at their kitchen table, the remains of a takeout dinner spread out between them. Mia had been pushing a piece of broccoli around her plate, lost in thought, when Alex cleared his throat. "Mia," he said, his voice gentle but firm, "we need to talk about what happened." Mia looked up, feeling a mixture of dread and relief. Part of her had been waiting for this conversation, while another part wanted to keep pretending everything was fine. "Okay," she said, setting down her fork. "Let's talk. First of all, I want you to know that I'm on your side. What my mom said was completely out of line, and I'm so sorry you had to go through that." "Thank you," Mia managed to whisper, feeling a lump form in her throat. But Alex continued, and she felt her heart sink at that single word. "We need to figure out how to move forward. Mom's been a part of this family for a lot longer than either of us, and I don't think cutting her out completely is the answer." Mia pulled her hand away, a flash of anger cutting through her sadness. "So what are you saying? That I should just forgive and forget? Pretend she didn't humiliate me in front of everyone we know?" Alex shook his head quickly. No, that's not what I'm saying at all. I just think we need to try to understand where this is coming from. Maybe if we sit down with her, talk things out?" "Talk things out?" Mia repeated, her voice rising. "Alex, she told me, I don't belong in this family, that no one wants me here. How am I supposed to just sit down and chat about that over a cup of tea?" She stood up abruptly, her chair scraping against the floor. The walls of their cozy kitchen suddenly felt suffocating. "I need some air," she muttered, grabbing her keys and heading for the door. "Sarah, wait!" Alex called after her, but she was already out the door, letting it slam behind her. The cool night air hit her face as she stepped outside, bringing with it a sense of clarity. She started walking, no particular destination in mind, just needing to move. As she wandered through their quiet neighborhood, her mind raced with thoughts and memories. She thought about the first time she met Grace, how nervous she had been to make a good impression. She remembered Grace's smile as she welcomed her into their home, the way she'd insisted Mia call her Mom after she and Alex got engaged. When had things changed? When had Mia gone from being a welcome addition to the family to an intruder? Her feet carried her to a small park a few blocks from their house. She sat down on a swing, the chains creaking slightly under her weight as she gently rocked back and forth. She tried to see things from Grace's perspective. Was she feeling replaced, threatened, or was there something deeper, some resentment that had been building for years without Mia's knowledge? Mia didn't know how long she sat there, lost in thought, but eventually she felt her phone vibrate in her pocket. It was a text from Alex. "I'm sorry. Please come home when you're ready. I love you." Those 3 simple words broke something inside her. The tears she had been holding back for days finally spilled over, and she found herself sobbing on the swing set like a child. All the hurt, confusion, and anger she had been bottling up came pouring out in a torrent of emotion. When the tears finally subsided, she felt drained, but somehow lighter. Taking a deep breath, she wiped her face and started the walk home. As she approached their house, she saw Alex sitting on the front steps, waiting for her. The sight of him, patient, worried, loving, made her heart swell. "I'm sorry," they both said at the same time as she reached him. It broke the tension and they shared a small laugh. Alex stood up, pulling her into a tight hug. "I shouldn't have pushed," he murmured into her hair. "I know this is hard for you." "I shouldn't have stormed out," she replied, leaning into his embrace. I'm scared, Alex. I don't know how to fix this." They went inside and spent the next few hours talking, really talking, about everything that had happened. They discussed their fears, their frustrations, and their hopes for the future. It wasn't an easy conversation, but it felt necessary, like lancing a wound to let it heal properly. As the night wore on, they came to a decision. They would meet with Grace, but on their terms. They would invite her to a neutral location, a quiet cafe they both liked, and lay everything out on the table. No accusations, no defenses, just honest communication. The next morning, Mia woke up feeling more resolved than she had in weeks. As she sipped her coffee, she drafted a text to Grace, inviting her to meet them. Her finger hovered over the send button for a long moment before she finally pressed it. There was no going back now. Grace's response came faster than Mia expected, a simple, "Okay, when and where?" No emotion, no apology, but at least she was willing to meet. It was a start. They set the meeting for the following Saturday. The days leading up to it were a mix of anticipation and dread. Mia found herself rehearsing what she wanted to say, then scrapping it all and starting over. Alex was a steady presence beside her, offering support and reassurance when her nerves threatened to overwhelm her. Saturday dawned bright and clear. As Mia and Alex walked hand in hand to the cafe, she felt a strange sense of calm settle over her. Whatever happened today, at least they were facing it together. They arrived first, choosing a quiet table in the corner. Mia fiddled nervously with her napkin as they waited, jumping slightly when the bell over the door chimed. And there she was. Grace, looking smaller somehow, less intimidating than she had at the party. She approached their table slowly, her face unreadable. "Mia, Alex," she said by way of greeting, sliding into the seat across from them. An awkward silence fell over the table. Mia looked at Alex, then at Grace, feeling the weight of unspoken words hanging in the air between them. This was it, the moment of truth that would determine the future of their family. "I think we need to talk about what happened at the housewarming party," Mia began, her voice steadier than she felt. Grace's eyes met hers, and for a moment, Mia saw a flicker of something. Regret? Fear? Before her expression hardened again. "Yes," Grace said, her tone clipped. "I suppose we do." And so it began, the conversation that would either mend the fractures in their family or break them apart for good. Mia took a deep breath, gathering her thoughts as she looked across the table at Grace. The cafe buzzed with the sounds of clinking cups and soft chatter, but in their little corner, it felt as if the world had faded away. "Grace," Mia started, her voice steady but soft, "I want to understand what happened at the party. I don't know why you said those things, and it hurt me deeply." Grace's expression remained guarded, but Mia could see the tension in her shoulders. "I didn't mean to hurt you, Mia," she replied, her voice low. I've always been protective of my family. I felt like you were trying to take the spotlight away from Lily." Mia felt a mix of frustration and sadness wash over her. "That's not true. I love Lily, and I would never want to overshadow her. I was just excited to celebrate her wedding. I thought we were all happy together." Grace's eyes flickered with something, perhaps guilt. I know you love her, but sometimes it feels like you're trying too hard to fit in. You have this confidence that I didn't have when I was your age. It makes me feel inadequate." Mia's heart softened at Grace's admission. "I never wanted you to feel that way. I thought you were proud of me, of what I've accomplished. I've always looked up to you." Grace's gaze dropped to the table, and for a moment the silence stretched between them. Alex reached out, placing his hand over Mia's, offering silent support. "I've been struggling with my own insecurities," Grace finally admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. "When you came into the family, I felt like I was losing my place. I didn't know how to handle it." Mia felt a pang of empathy. "I can't imagine how that must have felt. But I never meant to take your place. I just wanted to be part of this family, to be accepted." Grace looked up, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. "I know that now. I've been so caught up in my own feelings that I didn't see how my words affected you. I'm sorry, Mia. I truly am." Mia felt a wave of relief wash over her. "Thank you for saying that. I want us to move forward, to find a way to be a family again, but it's going to take time and effort from both of us." Grace nodded, her expression softening. "I'd like that. I really would. I want to be a better mother-in-law to you, and I want to support you in your life and career." The tension in the air began to dissipate, replaced by a tentative sense of hope. "I'd love that too," Mia replied, her heart lifting. "I want us to be able to talk openly, to share our feelings without fear of judgment." Alex squeezed Mia's hand, a proud smile on his face. "This is a great start. We can all work on being more open with each other." Grace smiled faintly, her eyes glistening. "I'd like to have dinner together soon, just the three of us. I want to get to know you better, Mia. I want to understand you." Mia felt a warmth spread through her chest. "I'd love that. I think it would be good for all of us." As they continued to talk, the conversation flowed more easily. They shared stories, laughter, and even a few tears. Mia learned about Grace's own struggles and insecurities, and Grace listened as Mia opened up about her fears of not fitting in. By the time they finished their coffees, the atmosphere had shifted dramatically. What had started as a confrontation had transformed into a heartfelt conversation, one that laid the groundwork for healing. As they stood to leave, Grace reached out and hugged Mia tightly. "Thank you for being brave enough to talk to me," she said, her voice thick with emotion. "I'm looking forward to our dinner." Mia smiled, feeling a sense of lightness she hadn't felt in weeks. "Me too, Grace. I really am." In the weeks that followed, Mia and Grace began to rebuild their relationship. They met for coffee regularly, sharing stories and laughter, slowly breaking down the walls that had separated them for so long. Mia found herself looking forward to these meetings, enjoying the chance to connect with her mother-in-law on a deeper level. One afternoon, as they sat in a cozy cafe, Grace surprised Mia with a question. "What's your next big project?" she asked, her eyes sparkling with genuine interest. Mia hesitated for a moment, then decided to share her latest idea. A line of sustainable clothing that would combine her love for fashion with her passion for the environment. "I want to create something that not only looks good, but also does good," she explained, her excitement bubbling over. Grace listened intently, nodding along. "That sounds incredible, Mia. I'd love to help in any way I can. Maybe I could help you with some marketing ideas?" Mia's heart swelled at the offer. "Really? That would be amazing. I could use all the help I can get." As they brainstormed ideas, Mia felt a renewed sense of purpose. With Grace's support, she began to see her dream take shape. They spent hours discussing fabrics, designs, and potential collaborations, and Mia felt invigorated by the creative energy between them. Meanwhile, Alex watched the transformation with a sense of pride. He had always known that Mia had a special way of bringing people together, and seeing her and Grace bond was a testament to her strength and resilience. One evening, as they sat together on the couch, Alex turned to Mia, a thoughtful expression on his face. "I'm really proud of you, you know. You've handled everything with such grace." Mia smiled, leaning her head against his shoulder. "I couldn't have done it without you. Your support means everything to me." As the months passed, the family dynamic began to shift. Grace became more involved in Mia's life, attending her fashion shows and offering her insights. The bond between them deepened, and Mia found herself feeling more at home within the family than ever before. Lily and Tom also noticed the change, and the atmosphere during family gatherings became lighter and more joyful. The tension that had once hung in the air was replaced by laughter and warmth, and Mia felt a sense of belonging that she had longed for. One sunny afternoon, as they gathered for a picnic in the park, Mia looked around at her family. Alex, Lily, Tom, and Grace, all laughing and enjoying each other's company. It was a beautiful sight, one that filled her heart with gratitude. As they sat together, sharing stories and food, Mia felt a sense of peace wash over her. The journey had been challenging, but it had also been transformative. She had learned the importance of communication, vulnerability, and forgiveness. In that moment, surrounded by the people she loved, Mia realized that family wasn't just about blood. It was about connection, understanding, and the willingness to grow together. And as the sun began to set, casting a warm glow over the park, Mia knew that they were on the right path. Together, they would continue to navigate the complexities of family life, supporting one another through the ups and downs, and creating a bond that would last a lifetime.